Hey guys, what's up? In light of the new Paragon, I thought it would be fitting to cover the bomb shooter given how much of a blast it is to play with. The base tower is already a great option for cheaply popping early game leads, however its upgrades allow it to do so much more. The top path specialises in shooting powerful bombs that can knock back and stun balloons caught inside its blast. The middle path rapidly fires massive missiles that do increased damage to Moab class balloons, while the bottom path makes its bombs produce even more bombs when they explode. And I know it's unavoidable to mention, but Striker Jones will be talked about a lot in this video. I have already made a video on him if you want a more detailed rundown, but his buffs are essential for unlocking the true potential of most of the bomb shooter's upgrades. Otherwise, that's enough waffle, so let's get right into it. Now, Top Path Bomb Shooter is one of those old reliable paths. It provides varying strengths of balloon stalling at mostly affordable prices, while also being a strong cross path for the other paths. Starting with bigger bombs and heavy bombs, it provides the bomb shooter with extra pierce, explosion radius, and damage. Although it's not as good by itself, it provides the other bomb tier 3s with much needed stat boosts that are extremely cost effective compared to most external buffs. Really big bombs though is a hard upgrade to defend. Although it effectively doubles down on the buffs provided by the previous two upgrades and applies knockback with its explosions, it simply isn't enough to hold its own during the early game. While cross-pathing its Striker's buffs do reduce some of its weaknesses, Really Big Bombs is heavily outclassed by other stalling towers in its price bracket, like Druid of the Storm and Juggernaut. However, Balloon Impact redeems this path by applying a 1.4 second stun to any small balloon it hits. Now with a greater focus on stalling rather than damage, Balloon Impact is a decent option for cleaning up most mid-game balloons. And with Striker's buffs, it can be quite effective at stalling super ceramics. However, its high cost and black balloon weakness makes it less desirable compared to other more versatile options. And the final upgrade in this path, we have the Balloon Crush. While its 60k save up is brutal, purchasing Balloon Crush is effectively a free ticket to round 100. On top of its previous effects, the bomb shooter can now knock back and stun Moab class balloons except bads and bosses, and the bomb shooter's damage type is upgraded from explosion to normal, so it only requires camo detection to knock back DDTs. However, being one of the best balloon stallers money can buy, sometimes it's so good that it becomes annoying. The Balloon Crush's low base damage can be great for buying some time in boss events, but if placed a little too far forward in chimps, and it can easily perma-stall balloons outside the range of your DPS monkeys. While it's more a case of suffering from success, it's good to bear in mind so you can avoid boring yourself to sleep. Now when cross-pathing the top path bomb, you should always go with the middle path, because the attack speed increase greatly improves the reliability of its stuns. While Ninjakiri has attempted to buff the frags from the bottom cross path, the drop in stun consistency does more harm than good for the later tiers. Moving to the middle path, we have a set of upgrades that are surprisingly quite versatile despite their obvious Moab focus. The path starts off with faster reload and missile launcher, which are both effectively attack speed upgrades. However, the latter also increases projectile speed and range. Like the top path, the utility of these upgrades aren't that good by themselves, but like most attack speed upgrades, it's universally useful across all bomb shooter paths. Moab Mauler takes things to a new level by adding a little extra range and a massive plus 15 Moab damage bonus that can be increased with Monkey Knowledge. Even though Mauler spam was nerfed into the ground eons ago, a Mauler or two remain one of the most cost-effective ways of popping early game Moabs, which is helpful for both farming setups and chimps. Moab Assassin takes things up a level by doubling the Moab damage bonus to 30, while also adding extra damage to ceramics, slightly improving its range, and introducing a new Assassinate Moab ability. This ability does 750 damage to a single Moab class balloon, while also doing a pitiful 3 damage to surrounding balloons. The damage can seep through layers, so the ability can effectively one-shot regular Moabs and partially damage BFBs. However, the ability has a lengthy 30-second cooldown, so it's best paired with Primary Mentoring's cooldown reduction and Striker's level 10 artillery command. Like its former upgrade, Moab Assassin can be used as an easy solution for mid-game Moabs, but it's more niche due to its increased cost. Now wrapping up this path, Moab Eliminator transforms the Assassin into a Moab killing machine. Its base Moab damage is increased from 30 to 99, and its ability is buffed to do 4,500 damage, while taking a third as long to cool down. This makes its base attack strong enough to two-shot unscaled blue Moabs, while the ability can one-shot almost everything up to partially damaged ZOMGs. While it's typically used as a round 100 solution, when paired with primary mentoring and Striker's buffs, it performs quite well in the 90s when paired with a ceramic cleanup monkey. And its high Moab DPS for its cost also makes it a great option against tier 1 elites, provided you have something to clean up the regular balloons. Just bear in mind that it has the explosion damage type, so it's going to need camo detection and black bopping power to damage DDTs. But when discussing cross-pathing though, the middle path can be rather nuanced since the extra attack speed is already built into the path. In most normal games, you should use the top cross path because the extra PS helps it deal with group blimps, and the lost range can be made up with top path village buffs. But if the bomb shooter is more being used to do damage to a single target, such as a bat or a boss, it's better purchasing the extra range for improved coverage. Now last, but definitely not least, we have the bottom path. While it has been a hot topic for balance changes and bugs alike, Bottom Path Bomb is currently in a very strong state thanks to its cost-effective DPS, and the fact that it responds extremely well to buffs. Starting with extra range, it's simply just... yeah. As I said less than a minute ago, it's good for increasing the range of your elim. Otherwise, it's simply a stepping stone upgrade that doesn't add much to the base tower. Similarly, Frag Bombs leaves a lot to be desired. However, its mediocrity comes from how it functions, rather than a simple stat boost. The upgrade increases the bomb shooter's range slightly, and makes its explosions produce a ring of 8 sharp fragments. While this sounds good on paper, these frags can't damage the balloon the bomb initially hit, so at best 1 to 2 of these fragments are actually damaging balloons. I get that the frags being able to shotgun single targets leads to broken interactions. Middle Path Buck has already been nerfed because of that, but it's currently not that great of an upgrade ever since they reverted the rework that made the bombs have normal damage. Cluster Bombs though is a solid upgrade all things considered. It replaces the sharp fragments with small bombs that significantly improve the bomb shooter's crowd control capabilities. Although its lack of camo detection and black balloon weakness doesn't scream versatile, its low cost, especially with monkey knowledge, makes it a decent early game option if you happen to be running Striker. Moving to Recursive Cluster, it increases the damage of all attacks by a flat +1, while upgrading the cluster bombs to split into 8 even smaller bombs on every second attack. These changes elevate the bomb shooter from a simple early game balloon popper to a solid mid game balloon DPS. However, like most mid game balloon DPS towers, Recursive falls off hard after round 80 due to the presence of super ceramics. But for an upgrade that costs nearly 3k, it can go a long way with some light buffs and Striker Jones. Now Bomb Blitz is effectively the late game version of Recursive Cluster. For almost 25k, it increases the bomb shooter's attack speed by 66.6%, adds an additional +3 damage to all attacks, and makes the recursive cluster bombs always trigger, rather than every second attack. This gives the bomb shooter a much needed DPS spike that not only enables it to handle super ceramics, but most Moab class balloons when given the right buffs and support. Bomb Blitz also introduces a passive ability that creates a massive screen-wide explosion when you leak or lose lives. The ability insta-kills any small balloon and blue Moabs, while doing 2000 damage to everything else. However, more recently, the ability got buffed so it can damage the balloon that triggered the explosion, meaning that if it's weak enough, it can prevent life loss, hence making the Bomb Blitz infinitely more usable in Impoppable and Chimps, since you only have one life. Just bear in mind the passive has a 60-second cooldown, and as of 51.0, there is no way of tracking the process of said cooldown. So if you're running a strategy that heavily relies on its activation, I suggest using a Moab Shove to stall a Moab at the end of each round to reduce its downtime. Now when cross-pathing the bottom path bomb, 99% of the time you want to go with the middle path, A 320 Berserker Brew, a 420 Village, and Striker Jones is all you need to buff the Bomb Blitz. And adding extra attack speed on top of that makes it fast enough to consistently pop DDTs. But don't completely disregard the benefits of the top cross path. While its bonuses don't scale as well into the Bomb Blitz, it can be a great option for the lower tiers when you don't plan on investing much into buffing it. Not to mention the extra pierce can come in handy for race events. Now the discussion of the Bomb Shooter wouldn't be complete without mentioning the Bomb Paragon. However, considering my last video was literally on it, I suggest you go watch that instead if you want a more in-depth rundown on how it performs. But as a quick TLDR, the Bomb Paragon's low attack speed made it extremely dependent on its abilities to survive, so it only made it to round 125 at degree 1, and 213 at degree 100. While embossing, the Bomb Paragon is strong against Lich and Bloon areas due to the abilities having strong interactions with their mechanics. However, it was useless against FaZe and Blastopopolis because it lacked camo detection, and the Paragon is heavily reliant on its ability damage. One point I didn't fully address in that video though, was the Bomb Paragon's price to performance. While the Paragon does a great job of encapsulating the strengths of each path, after using it for a couple more boss events, its raw DPS feels a little weak for its 600k price tag. I'm not saying that it should get a price buff, because its higher cost and low attack speed makes it a lot more unique compared to the other primary Paragons. I just wish that its power was worth the hassle, because farming pops for it is much harder than other Paragons in its price bracket, such as the Ascended Shadow and Navark. But otherwise, that's my take on the Bomb Shooter. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.